come Jesus into my life. There's so much to see here. Oh, come Jesus into my life. There's so much I can be. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Thank you, and welcome to today's church service. I will be doing my best to socially distance myself from my camera because I woke up this morning with many large pimples on my face. Hopefully it won't show up too bad because though my editing skills are impressive, to take out something that hormonal is a challenge. Today's video is sponsored by peanut butter filled pretzels from Trader Joe's. Would you like a bite? I knew you'd ask. Here. Take it. No? Oh, you're allergic to peanuts. Okay. Things are a little bit chaotic right now. I started school last week. The thing is, when we had our first couple classes, it was actually kind of fun because like we got to see everybody. But now it's just like, no. No. And on top of it, I feel like school is letting me be more prone to neglect my YouTube channel. It's been a week and I haven't posted a video. Speaking of school, today I wanted to talk to you about my experiences with being in a Catholic school. For those of you who don't know, I spent from kindergarten until 6th grade in a Catholic establishment where I learned many things. And today I thought I'd share some of the most interesting stories from that experience. Okay, the first thing that comes to mind is when I was in kindergarten, my mom was really into Lady Gaga. And so am I. She's incredible.
Talented, brilliant.
And that song, Money Honey, we used to play it all the time. It's like, that's M-O-N-E-Y, so sexy I. And I remember being on the floor, I was in kindergarten, mind you, and I asked my mom, what does sexy mean? And she said, well, it means, you know, that you're good looking, you know? And I was like, oh, okay. So the next day, I go to school. I'm in my Catholic school uniform. And I start telling all my friends how sexy they were. I said, you're so sexy. Later, the religion teacher actually comes up to me and she says, Charlie, I'm very disappointed in you. Have you been calling other people sexy? And I was like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I? It's just a compliment. And she was like, you're gonna have to spend recess inside from now on. That's... Oh, another thing that I remember from my religion teacher is that every week we would have like the church service. Students would read like a section of the Bible or whatever, I don't even know, or sang a song depending on their class. And I never got to do it, and I like really, really wanted to do it. And one day I got chosen to read one of the things, and I was so excited. So we went to the church to do sort of a rehearsal. And as I was practicing through my little reading, practicing through my scripture, practicing through the holy word, she stops me and she says, hold on a second. Charlie, did you have your Holy Communion? If you don't know Holy Communion, it's essentially the thing that makes you Catholic. I was not baptized. I'm not Catholic, so why was I even at that school? I'm not even Catholic. Anyways, the point is, she asked me, have you done your first Holy Communion, or have you been baptized? And I was like, what's that? And she says, I'm sorry, honey, you can't do it. And so she takes me down from the podium in front of everybody else that's rehearsing, and she walks me back to the school, and I was literally about to cry. I was so sad because that was like my only experience at being able to do one of those things, and it was literally taken away from me. And I was like, what the heck? I was in the choir, and we did that every Friday, I think, after school. And I liked it. Okay, I liked it, but I was like the type of kid that was always like, no, nah, like, I don't want to say anti-conformist. I was just like a little bitch. Like, I was annoying. And so one day during choir, I was like, I don't really want to like do it. So what I did was, we practiced choir in the church. So I waited outside for everybody to go into the choir, and then I put on a hoodie, I put on gloves, and I hunch over, and I walk into the church and go to one of the pews, and then the choir kids are like on like the choir stand, and then the pews are there like the rest of the church. and I start going through the aisles. I was probably like 11 and I start praying. And I'm just like going through pretending to be somebody else hunched over. And then the choir teachers like basically says like, guys, we gotta keep it down, okay? There's somebody trying to pray here. And so I went through the pews and I was about to leave. And I was about to be like, okay, I've done it. I can leave now. And then she says, where's Charlie? Now, mind you, everybody in the choir kind of knew that I was doing this. So they all looked at me. And then she turns around and sees me in the pews. And I'm like, I had to talk with her afterwards, and that was the day that I actually quit choir. I'm not sure if this is an actual thing that happened or just some sort of fever dream, but I talked to my sister and apparently like she had the same experience. So unless there's somehow like a telepathic connection between our dreams, I'm pretty sure this actually happened. It was like, I think it was first grade or second grade. It was essentially a 4-hour long wedding, all in Mandarin. It was like some Chinese traditional wedding between two people that I didn't even know, and I couldn't understand a word of it because it was all in Mandarin. I sat through the entire 4-hour service, kneeling and praying and clapping for these people that I didn't even know. It was the weirdest experience of my life, and I still don't know what that was to this day. And I have a really fun memory of this time when I was in 3rd grade. And I was with my friends, my group, and at lunch we decided to like be a restaurant. So what we did was we took like those little seaweed packets and we took spaghetti and rice and we wrapped up the seaweed with the spaghetti and the rice and called it spaghetti sushi, and we started like passing it out to all the other kids. It was the grossest thing ever because there were so many fingers involved and like cross-contamination of who knows what. But I feel like the only reason why I wanted to do it is because I wanted free food. I was that kid that was going around to everybody like,
are you gonna eat that? Can I have a bite?
The thing is, in 3rd grade, I feel like I sort of corrupted myself because in 3rd grade I was reading Stephen King. If you don't know what Stephen King is, you should know. But secondly, they're not really kids' books. I don't know who got around to letting me read those, but I was an avid reader and I read all the time. And so reading Stephen King put all of these sort of sociopathic ideas into my head. And so whenever I wrote a short story for my class, because we had English class. Is that a helicopter?
You better stop!
So whenever I would write a short story, they were always like super twisted and dark. And I remember one time I had a dream, it was in 3rd grade, about this fortune-telling machine that like you basically like put yourself into this machine. It's like a slide and you like jump into it. Basically the fortunes were coming true, and I had this crazy fortune that my sister got pregnant, and then my sister who was like 5 was like pregnant, and I was like, what is happening? And so I decided I wanted to write a story about it, and so I took one of my little composition journals and I wrote a story about that, and I used people that were in my class as their names. And I remember one of the scenes from the books, it was essentially between these two kids in my class, and I mentioned in the book that they were flirting like never before. The book got around and people were pissed at me. Like they thought that I did the worst thing in the world because I was essentially writing all of these rumors about them. Everybody got really mad at me, so I ended up ripping up the book and throwing it in the trash can. And that was the last time I ever wrote. As I sit here eating my sweet plantain chips, I just remembered a story that really was a doozy. This one was a good one. When I was younger, I really got into like books and fantasies and stuff like that. And this was probably right after my vampire phase, when I was convinced that I was a vampire and that if I jumped off a balcony, I would turn into a bat. Luckily, I didn't end up jumping off a balcony, but I came about this close to actually doing it. And after my vampire phase, I had a wizard magic phase, and I had this book called Wizardology. I don't know why they sell these books to kids. They put dangerous ideas into their head. And it was like essentially a book of spells. I swear I could have been a cult leader back then. And it was like, read this and you'll turn into a wolf or whatever. And so I would go around with this book and everybody would follow me around and be like, I want to do a spell, I want to do a spell. And I'm like, okay, but you really have to believe it. And mind you, I was convinced that all this stuff was real. And so I was sitting and a bunch of people were around, and then this girl comes up to me. I think this was in 2nd grade. And she comes up to me and she's like, what's that? And I'm like, it's a book of magic and there's real spells in it. And she goes, magic isn't real. And then bops me on the forehead with her finger. And I immediately start crying. I am like, And I'm sobbing in front of everyone because I'm so taken aback by this. And it was traumatizing. It was really traumatizing. And then later this kid came up to me and he's like, I read the spell about turning into a wolf and nothing happened. And I was like, we're gonna pretend that my room isn't a mess. Alrighty guys, I think I'm gonna end it here because I can't think of any more stories. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and comment down below your favorite color and why. And I will see you in the next video. Supersonic, electronic, supersonic, electronic, supersonic, electronic, supersonic, electronic. My blue jeans is tight. Okay, bye.
Electronic, supersonic, supersonic, electronic.